Hello, Friday Night Live. How's everybody?
Hey.
What's going on? What are you up to? What are you listening to? What are you doing?
Hi, Fraser J. For me,
Fraser J, how are
it
you?
will always be the 7th, John. Haha, love you guys. Hi, hope you're having a good night.
We have
Happy
our
to be on.
gaudy curtain behind us. It's actually a really good curtain because when we're watching a movie, this is our picture window. We're watching a movie, it blocks out all
It's
the
a
light.
blackout curtain.
It's really good.
It's fabulous.
We were going to change it, and then we went, wait a minute.
Nope, it works.
All the curtains in this house are really good when we're watching a movie in the daytime.
Hi, Darren John. How
Hi,
are
Darren.
you planning to remove your music mural wall and keep it intact? Also, you're not going to use a chainsaw like Joe Wolf did on Eagles Tour, are you?
No, what we're going to do is we've decided to cut. The big the big lights are in your eyes. The big lights we have are in your eyes.
Oh.
It's okay. Then you can do.
That's okay. I'll try to hold this so I can see properly.
The wall. I'll show you. The wall's right here. My mouse not working?
I think he's thinking of cutting it into
Yeah.
2 pieces to get it to fit.
Yeah. For everyone's seen it. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I can't. I got a wall. Where's the wall? I'm trying to think of where the wall. I might have taken it out. Hold on. Oh, the wall's right here. Here's the wall.
And thinking of cutting it like right in the center.
Yeah. Thinking of cutting it like, oh, sorry. Here we go. Let me get out of there. Thinking of cutting it. There's 2 1/4 pieces of sheetrock here. And then it's not finished. It was never painted. It's just the color of the sheetrock. And we're thinking, so we're going to, where April Wine is, as you can see, that's kind of one piece there. From Chicago to Fleetwood Mac is another piece. And the third piece is like a 1/3 of a pleat. And we're going to cut them in half in the middle because it's too much of a pain in the ass. Let me just get rid of this here. So that's kind of the plan for the wall in my bedroom. By the way, for anyone who doesn't know, sorry, Shan. For anyone who doesn't know, that's the wall I built in my bedroom in high school when I was.
Oh, Fraser asked us to swap sides. I guess we're showing
We're actually on the right side, though.
Yeah, I think we are on the right side.
Yeah, we're on the right side.
Sorry, make sure mirrored. Rick, hey Rick, greetings from Ohio. A toast to absent friends: Lisa Marie Presley,
Yeah.
Robbie Bachman, and Jeff Beck. Father Time remains undefeated.
Yeah. Again, what did I say? And what everyone has their own way of saying it. You guys have your own way of saying it. You can't cheat the hangman. You can't. Christine McVie was a. Sorry, it's been a long, long day of doing a lot of videos, and by the time we get up to Friday Night Live, and I still have to.
You're doing good, and you still have to record your show tonight.
I still have to record my Vancouver show.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you, Shannon.
Goodness.
I appreciate that. What was the question? Sorry, I'm at my best right now.
We're talking about people who have passed on.
Yeah, I catch the hangman.
Yeah. Chad says Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers is a great band.
Yeah.
So we're talking about,
that was a shock. Well, yeah, when you talk about people, for me it was Madman Across the Water, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, by Elton John.
Do you have any songs you like from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers? Chad's just asking. If there's anything that
Free Fallin' is for whatever reason, that's a song. You love that song.
Very much
yeah. So. And Shannon sings a lot in our house. She likes to
not
sing.
a good singer.
But she's a cute singer. You're so cute.
Thanks.
You can't sing. No, she can't sing. She doesn't have a good voice. But she has a cute voice. I always encourage her to sing. I'm going, sing. Because some people misunderstood us and Chase was watching it, one of the videos. He says, Dad, you love watching Mommy sing. I said, no, I think some people misunderstood the fact that, the fact that she'll sing, and I think it's really cute.
I actually sing some songs in my wheelhouse. They actually...
No, that's not true.
Hi, Barbara. Hello, John and Shannon. Hey. Melancholy Man, Running Down a Dream.
Oh, Running Down a Dream.
That's a good one, too. Yeah, that's really good.
That's a great song.
Good one, definitely.
But there are songs like River. People mention, and I mention it a lot, River by Joni Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes up in interviews a lot of people who were influenced by that song. Speaking of melancholy songs that are songs that you almost think that you should listen to when you're by yourself. There was a New Age program, not the one that I did, but there was someone who was doing it a few years after I started doing mine in Edmonton. And the name of it was Music You Listen to by Yourself or something like that. I'm paraphrasing the title, but I remember thinking, yeah. And we used to play Joni Mitchell River before it became a Christmas song. And yeah, a few songs from Blue actually we played.
Oberheim says it's been 20 years since Maurice Gibb departed us.
Oh, Maurice Gibb. Yeah. The whole Gibb brothers thing is really sad. It's strange when you think we're living in a world without like a complete Beach Boy. Andy, I wasn't the biggest fan of Andy. I liked his stuff because it was sound like the Bee Gees, but not as much as the Bee Gees. I sort of had, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Uh-oh.
Long day. I know once I sat down after doing all these videos today.
That's because you're all comfy here. It's
Yeah,
nice and warm. You're right by the heater.
Yeah. Shannon has this thing that she does when we go to bed at night. She's her cute little feet always go like this. This is my leg, and her feet always go like that. And she has to do this like for 15 minutes.
Because my feet are freezing.
Well, not only that, even when your feet are freezing, you do that. This is my calf, and she'll go like this with one of her legs, one of her feet. I think it's the cutest thing in the world.
Thanks.
And I'm going, she's rubbing my calf so it feels good. And I'll go, can you go to the next one? She goes, okay.
Knox Raymond, the first time I heard Bruce Springsteen's Spirit in the Night in 1979 at a Little League practice, it has been my favorite song.
Isn't that weird? And there's also the thing about, and I've talked to artists about this, I stopped doing it a few years ago, I should start again, of going, of all the songs, what's the song you hum the most? Within your own brain, your own mind, your own time, what is that one song? For me, it's All the Nasties by Elton John. I've never sung a song to myself as much. That's a song about betrayal of oneself and betrayal from other people. And that is the one song that I have hummed or sang inside my head more than any other song by far from Mad Men Across the Water, by the way.
Mozilla said, Helen Reddy, I Am Woman. Yeah, probably cheesy, but I was a teenager.
No, there's no
such thing as cheesy.
No, there isn't really. To see yourself, you like, that's the thing. Let's promote, you like what you like, no matter what it is. If you like the Backstreet Boys, all the power to you. Taylor Swift? No, Taylor Swift's fine. Whatever you like, you can't help.
Knox says, Girl Can't Help It by Journey made me save up to buy a Rhodes piano.
Oh, I was just talking about Lights. For years I was calling it In the City, but it's called Lights, and it's one of the top 10 for Journey songs. Love and Touch and Squeeze It is another one. Those songs before they became the momentous band that they were, those songs are the ones that I think about.
Rick May says, Jimi Hendrix Experience. Are you experienced? How did he make his guitar sound like that?
Yeah, well, he played it upside down for one thing. There's a few guitarists who did that. I was just watching Jeff Beck the other day, and I'm going, what? He's got his guitar upside down. Some people would buy, depending upon left or right-handed guitars, and they just get used to playing it because that's all they had. Other people just liked it that way. I mean, Jeff Healey was blind, so he played his guitar when he was on the table. There's a few. Paul McCartney, there you go, his bass.
Melancholy Man said Andy was pop.
Andy was pop, yeah. I like pop though a lot. I'm a real pop rock guy. Someone had mentioned the other day, why are you obsessed with Toto? I'm going, I like Toto. I get a chance to interview them. They're one of my favorite bands. And I mean, it's my channel, right? And you always, when you have a channel, you always hope people will swing along with you and at least get something out of the interview, something kind of interesting. I was just mentioning on the last video that originally my plan was just to have the John Beaudin channel. There is a channel on YouTube just called John Beaudin. And on there is that skunk video. Remember the skunk video in Calgary? Skunks were coming towards our house.
I'm not a skunk fan. And
she hates skunks.
And I was looking out the bonus room window, and there must have been like
a mother
and like 10 skunks all going right towards our
house,
our front door. I'm like, oh my God.
Look it up. Just look up John Beaudin. I don't know if you can look up the John Beaudin channel or Calgary. Yeah. Look up John Beaudin storm. There's a storm. There's an incoming storm, and Chase is very young. He's on top of this big mountain. We used to live in New Brighton, a very nice community in Calgary. And the storm's coming in. It's dark. This big cloud. And anyway, it was coming in, and we have those two videos, the skunk video and the storm video. And eventually I'm going to do something with the channel so I can just go on there and just talk about anything.
Scott Brower says the Red and Blue Beatles compilation albums had a big effect on me.
So true. Very well said, because you had the best of both worlds, the young Beatles and then the older Beatles. And they're still, and they both took a shot on that, in that one with long hair and one with short hair, which was ingenious. Yeah, I just love that.
Ruben says, Supertramp, Breakfast in America changed my life as a kid.
Oh,
These are all good ones.
good ones. That was such a great album. I still listen to it. By the way, I have like 4 copies downstairs. You can tell by because the liner thing is, someone just gave us a super chat.
Yes, thank you, Richie C59. May sound like an odd choice, but the album that changed my life was Weezer, Pinkerton.
Oh,
Great
cool.
album that was relatable to my life at the time.
I've got to get on the. I don't know sure how to do that. Oh, I've got to get. I mean, Weezer's a band I could never understand, but I've got to circle back. That's my favorite term. There you go. Circle back.
Subtle Shark says, We Will Be Strong by Thin Lizzy.
Oh, I was just doing a thing on Phil, and I guess it's Lynott, not Lynott, because his daughters had said that's how you say it. I didn't realize that. Everyone was saying Phil Lynott. Speaking of Thin Lizzy, he was their lead singer, bass player. The boys are back in town. Jailbreak, baby.
Michelle says, Tapestry changed my life in a good way, but in an emotional way.
Yeah, it's very emotional. It's like, speaking of Joni Mitchell's Blue, there was it's an introspective sort of album. I'd love to talk to Carole King. She's, I know the people who handle her, at least they used to. I should make an effort to talk to. I think Carole King and I would have a great conversation.
Hike with Mike. Hey, folks. Hey, Mike. Ken says, The Clash Train in Vain.
Oh, cool.
Chad says, What do you think about John Lennon and Yoko Ono?
Well, I've never been a Yoko fan at all. People talk about Linda McCartney not being necessarily the greatest keyboardist and really not the greatest singer. And there was always that rumor that Soundborn recording, there was a recording of her just singing by herself. Wasn't pretty. And then I saw a quote that Paul said, well, maybe she shouldn't have joined the band or something like that. And I'm not sure if that's a real quote. I remember seeing that a few years ago. I'm not sure. It would only be 3-4 years old if that was. So I've got to, again, circle back and see that. But Yoko was a more extreme example of that because Yoko was like a performance artist. She just did whatever comes up. I'm an artist, so I'm just going to play. I'm going to do my thing. And that's my art, damn it. And then, people made jokes for years going, oh my God, I've lost my hearing. Paul's wife was a lesser example of that. But I can understand where they came from wanting to have their wives very close to them. Ringo didn't do that. George didn't do that. I mean, George's Patty, his love of his life, also Eric Clapton's love of his life. Patty Boyd, she influenced so many songs, Layla being one of them, right? But she didn't get in the way, I felt, not in the way that Linda McCartney and especially Yoko got in the way, it seems.
Darren says John Fogerty finally acquires rights to a CCR song.
That's the video I was going to do this week. Thank you for reminding me. That's such a big one. Did you see his post? I didn't get it. I was just going on live for the Journey thing, and he's standing in front of the birthday cake, and he's talking about it. Finally getting the rights. Yeah, that good for him. I mean, I don't know how long John will be around. He seems to be healthy. His brother, Tom's dead, and the other guys are alive. But he was the man in that band. There was a few bands in the early 70s after the Beatles, Grand Funk, CCR. There was a few of them that were some of the biggest bands in the world.
Winslow Red Cross. I like the 1982 Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers album, Long After Dark.
Mm-hmm.
The whole album is about being heartbroken and trapped in a dead-end town.
I thought Tom Petty, I saw him in concert after Damn the Torpedoes, and I remember thinking a lot of this sounds the same, kind of like going to a Rush concert, which I did go a few years after that. And I went, you got to go, whenever I feel everything sounds the same, my first feeling, some of my friends in the 70s used to say this about Bob Dylan, because they didn't understand Bob Dylan. And listen, if they think it all sounds the same, then it all sounds the same to them. But my first reaction is to go a little deeper. Maybe this artist, even Rush, I only felt that with Rush when I went to the concert. I didn't feel that with the other stuff. But yeah, that Tom Petty used to think that don't do me like that. I'm going, everything, break down, it all sounds the same. And then, of course, he kept not totally reinventing himself, but everything had a slightly different flavor. Like another chapter, even though a lot of it did have a similar feel to it. Bruce Springsteen's the same way. Springsteen stuff has a very similar feel to it.
Loggy Doggy, 10cc, I'm not in love. Why? I don't know, just love it.
Yeah, yes,
right?
You got it. Yeah, remember I was just talking to a producer a few days ago, just before a few days before Christmas, rather. So it's not a few days ago, and I was saying I referenced the she's checking out her daughter over there. The fact that 10cc I'm not in love when after I remember they had Eric's vocals down, Stewart's vocals down, and then they played it through a transistor radio to see if it still sounded good. I remember we met Phil Ramone. Remember the Canadian Smooth Jazz?
Yes.
We met Phil Ramone. And one of our announcers who lives in, I think, Florida at the time, because we had a radio station online, a jazz station, he came up to Phil Ramone and he says, so like, what's the deal with Just the Way You Are and I'm Not in Love? He said, well, no, we I was influenced by that. But they played I'm Not in Love through a transistor radio to see if it still sounded good, and damn, it did.
John at Village Advisory. Hi from Melbourne, Australia.
Hey.
Sad week,
Yes,
indeed.
it was. Yeah, it really was.
Ruben says, I love Long After Dark, fave Petty album.
Oh, yeah.
Mustang Red, 1967. Hello. Hello, Mustang.
Hi.
Tony says, my theme songs, Holy Diver Dio, Looking After Number One, Boomtown Rats, White Man in Hammersmith.
I don't know what that is.
The Clash.
The Clash, yeah. I'm never a big Clash fan, though a few of my friends were really big. They tried really hard on me with the Clash. It never worked, but again, you either like something or you don't. I didn't like the punkish, post-punk, pre-punk. I didn't like, there's a lot of that sort of sound. When my friends were surprised when I liked the Police, I went, yeah, but kind of ska, reggae, punk, pop, right?
Aaron says, hi, Shannon John. Marvin Gaye, what's going on?
Oh, my God.
That's another classic, too.
Oh, my God. Our son, Chase, who's 19 years old, listens to that album all the time. Knows that album 100 times better than I know it. I mean, he knows the lyrics. He knows the songs. Our son's the coolest guy. He just loves...
What's your favorite?
What, from who?
Like, just in general, what would be one of your favorite songs that's changed your life or affected you? I mean, there's been some great ones here, but do you have one that sticks out?
Just Elton John stuff. Bruce Hornsby, The Way It Is, I Remember Where I Was. What about you? I
like Sam Cooke's Change's Gonna Come.
Oh, my God. You love that song.
One of my favorites.
There was I was working for New Cap Radio for 5 years. I was the program director of one of their stations. Not for 5 years, but a few years. And I'd worked with them, and then the license gate was finished, and I thought New Cap was a big, Stingray owns New Cap now, all their stations. So anyway, I left the station, the license was over, and I told guys, I said, listen guys, I know you have to start all fresh, you're gonna have to get a new program director. That's fine. I'm gonna go, I'll make it easy for you guys, don't be weird. And they went, oh, okay, well that's fine, that's even better. So I left, and then they started a station in my hometown. And I looked at Shannon and I says, I got this. These guys know me. I ran a major market radio station for them.
So we're planning to come back to New Brunswick, his home province, just because we always thought that we'd get back here, which of course we're here now.
We're here now. But I told us, there's no way they're not going to hire me. I ran a major market radio station for them, and it did well. We certainly weren't number one or number five, but we made money. And so I applied. And then it came down to me and this other lady. And I remember thinking, well, I'm sure I'm going to get it. I've got like so much more experience than her. And then in the end, I didn't get it because I wasn't in the company, and I think she was. And I remember thinking I was petty. And you know me, I'm never petty.
Well, just when you think it's a shoe and you think, okay, I know I've got
And then I listened to the girl on the radio and I'm going, they hired her over me? I mean, nervous laugh. And then I had to start and I'm going, that's a gal, that's a girl who worked just as hard or harder than I did in broadcasting. And it taught me a big lesson. I stopped and I thought, and I'm not religious, but I have this, I always say, God bless her. And I said, God bless her. Good for her for getting the job. What pissed me off is the night before she had told people in the small town, and I grew up in that town, and it got back to me that I didn't get the job. And I was really mad. I'm going,
and you didn't really even know yet.
I didn't even know I didn't get the job. And she's telling her barber, and the barber's telling my brother, and my brother's telling me. I'm going.
So again, that would be more of a small town.
And my dad was at his last few years, and I went, come on. I told the company, I said, guys, I can do this. And my dad's only got a few years left, and I need to get back to my small town. And really, it's a radio station.
So we did come back to your small town. But eventually, but of course, after your dad had passed on. So
I was really mad. But then I redirected. I said, don't get mad at her. She worked hard to get there. I wasn't the biggest fan of what she did on the radio, but I'm going, I don't have to be. Leave her alone. I don't even know. I don't remember her name. I don't remember. I wouldn't know where to see her. I don't remember anything.
Dennis says, forever changes by love.
Oh, God, yeah. I was thinking of doing a special on them.
Darren says, John, Jeff Beck's right-hand guitar was the reverse headstock in a tribute to Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
That is cool. Surfer Boy, what a week. Hello from Boston. Hey, Surfer Boy, nice to have you here. Lemming, really liked Melody by Boys Brigade.
Boys Brigade, yeah. Oh, I remember Melody. Melody, right into my heart. I remember I had the album. What was the big single? Not the one before Melody. There was a song that was sort of a power pop song that Boys Brigade. I remember Ched used to play Boys Brigade. We didn't at our station. Maybe we played Melody. When I used to syndicate radio shows, I would play stuff that our station that I worked at would never play because they were an AC station. So we'd have an AC version of the Cross Canada Report, the show we syndicated across the country, and a rock version. And we played the other Boys Brigade song.
Gator says, I think the most powerful moment in all of music is the middle of Hearts Alone when Ann Wilson cries out for me.
Ann Wilson is the greatest rock female vocalist on the planet. She's just... no one has touched me on that level for rock. No one has. No one can touch Ann Wilson.
Metal Reaper, Dire Straits debut album. Dire Straits.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the second one, Communique, I remember thinking, well, kind of, this is like a don't look back thing, right? I didn't think that at the time. But where it sounded a lot like the first one. And then by the time they made Making Movies, I remember thinking, they're branching out. They're changing their sound a little bit. They're mixing it up, and I really like Making Movies.
Now, please, if you can hit that, whack that like button, and we appreciate that for sure.
Yeah, appreciate that. Thank you.
Ruben says Pinkerton is an amazing album.
Oh, cool.
Bud Light Guy, Skinnerd, One More from the Road.
Oh, yeah. A lot of good. Skinnerd's just good drinking music, I always found. Just good music to have in the background. I was never the biggest Skinnerd fan. I bought Street Survivors, the best of, that double best of, that was light blue. I bought that one.
I'm going to jump ahead a bit here. Rick May, Jethro Tull, Aqua Lung. Everybody in college in the early 70s owned that album. They all seem to be playing Locomotive Breath on all over again. I interviewed Ian, I think, 5-6 times, maybe 7. I don't know, a lot of times. I don't really need to interview him again. I will if it ever comes up, but I know they're working on a new album. Gator said, getting emotional now just thinking about Joni singing Both Sides Now at Newport last year. Can't get through the first chorus without bawling and sniffing like a baby.
Brandi Carlile, yeah, that was something else.
Mm-hmm. Surfer Boy, every album that Beatles did changed my life.
Yeah. Yeah. In the beginning when I was young, of course, I liked the doo-woppy, not doo-woppy, but like the boy band kind of stuff in the beginning, because they wouldn't have had the chance to do the latter part, when Revolver and Rubber Soul started changing the band changed them. Well, the band changed with the albums. I like the latter part a lot more, but you can't help but tap your toes when you listen to the early stuff.
Hike with Mike, the songs that changed my life are fluid, depending on what my age was and what was going on in my life. That is so true.
Who said that, Hike with Mike?
Yeah, that
very,
is so
very good.
True.
That's one of the truest comment we heard tonight, because it does change. And people always, people ask me, so what's your top 10 of all time? And I'm going, that so changes.
like I look at my, you know, we're going through our stuff now because we're probably going to do a move in the next little while. And going through stuff that I've had for years, I look at my top albums from 1975 and I'm going, oh God, some of those are very, very pop-ish albums.
VHS tapes from the early 80s.
How much did I get rid of this week, honey?
Oh, I made a lot, like 300 pounds of stuff.
Yeah.
350 pounds.
CDRs that don't work anymore. Remember CDRs? You buy them and then
tons of stuff.
You go through albums that you have one song you like, so you put them on a CDR, and then 10 years later the CDR doesn't work, but then you got Spotify. Chances are it's there.
Darren says, Jeff Beck also said in a recent interview that there's no photos of him and Jimi Hendrix together in existence.
Oh, really?
Julius, hi. Close to the Edge, yes.
Oh my God, what a great album.
Craig Hill.
Oh, we got a super chat from Rick Smith.
Thank you so much, Rick.
Thanks, Rick.
Appreciate your contribution. It's really thoughtful. Craig Hill, Thin Lizzy, Thunder and Lightning, the song Cold Sweat.
Oh, cool.
I am 16 years old every time I hear that riff.
See, that's
so there you go. Or you hear something and it brings you right back.
Yeah, there's something about, sometimes when I listen to The Way It Is by Hornsby, and I've interviewed him twice, one in person, one on the phone, and we call it phoner in radio, it just brings me back to where I was in my basement. There was 2 old reel-to-reels that we got from the radio station that we put up on a big metal rack. And I remember trying to get them working, and then The Way It Is came on. And I just stopped everything. I went, what is this? Yeah.
Bob Potter, Rubber Soul is the best Beatle album.
Well, yeah, a lot of people say Rubber Soul, Revolver, then of course Sgt. Pepper. To me, I like Abbey Road a lot. I still like Let It Be, which was a Raw album, which was not the last album, but it was released last.
Maurice says, Power, Light, Earth, Wind, and Fire, 1983.
Yeah. Hi, Danica. Are you happy?
Okay.
Hi.
Cheryl says, Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell.
Oh, that's a good one.
Bob's Place. Hey, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
Somewhere Down the Road, Barry Manilow.
I had, I don't know, Trying to Get the Feeling, Even Now. Was it Manilow 2? I had that. I had the live album. Oh God, there's another one I had when I was growing up. Even Now I thought with Copacabana, and the title song Even Now, which was a hit as well. I loved Barry Manilow when I was growing up.
Oh, did I miss one yet? Helicopter, 316, Zebra,
Oh.
No Telling Lies, and 3V.
I was never that familiar with that band.
Oh, Helicopter again chimed in. Boston's First Two, Rumors, Fleetwood Mac. Rumors is huge. Shelley, hi Shelley. Dark Side of the Moon.
Dark Side of the Moon is still an album that I listen to now. If it's, I always say when I'm turning the channel, if Seinfeld's on, I'll always stop at Seinfeld no matter what. It's just like she says, why do you watch it? You've seen this episode like 1,000 times. I'm going, I don't know. I just can't. And Dark Side of the Moon, if I see it, I'll put it on. But I'm also branching out to, I'm going back to Ummagumma, which a lot of people don't like, the double album. I'm listening to metal, Animals. I'm just going back, and we were just talking about Syd Barrett the other day. I don't know if it was the anniversary of his birthday or his death. We did a thing on Syd. Yeah.
Cool. Darren, in a sad way, if the fantasy record problems with Fogerty didn't happen, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest wouldn't exist.
I don't know that story.
And Saul.
Saul Zaentz
produced that film.
With Michael Douglas.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. I'm thinking of doing a thing on all of that. And usually what I do is before I do a live broadcast, and I like the fact that some people, obviously, I'm not a faker because you can see I don't have notes here. I'm just talking. And it's my job to know about a lot of rock and roll. But many times people will come up and say, why don't you interview so-and-so? And I'll go, who is that? I don't know. And then I'll immediately go and research that person after because I need to know who that is. But people are always surprised that, all us guys who do this kind of like rock and roll stuff, it includes like the Professor of Rock and Rick Beato and all those guys, the Sea of Tranquility guy. And that's nothing against them. They're smart. We all do research. We all have to do research. I mean, and anyone who would tell you they're not, and they don't say that. You all have to. I mean, no one remembers all the dates. It's impossible, right? Remember, again, I'll reference that guy who said, "I can't believe you're doing Today in History and you're reading your notes." It's Today in History. All it is dates. Come on. What are you talking about? I remember going, that is the most idiotic comment. No one can do Today in History without looking at notes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vista, for Super Chat. Bob Dylan, Oh Mercy Elm.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Steve says, in the 80s, I met Jeff Beck at a Bob Evans restaurant in Canton, Michigan.
Wow.
A very cool guy.
Yeah.
Pulsar Lights. Hey, Pulsar.
Hi.
Who won the metal versus punk war of the late 70s, early 80s? I assume metal sold more albums.
I don't know. I'd have to look that up. It's one of the mysteries of John Beaudin.
Doug Meister 83. Hi guys. Anything by Toto?
Oh God, yeah. Toto 1 and Toto 4 and Toto 7.
Rick Smith. Hey, hi. First time here, everyone.
Hi.
Growing up, Bad State Joey from Concert Blonde. A lot. It was me.
A lot
Growing
of it
up, Bad
was me.
State Joey from Concert Blonde.
Oh, so into you Atlanta Rhythm section, Shelley Charles. Man, what a beautiful, that was a great band. Understated, they were a very understated band. Unless you saw them in concert, then they could rock, right?
Rick says, Jeff Beck, Blow by Blow. My last introduction to jazz fusion and realizing that Beck didn't follow the popular music road at the time. He had his own path.
Someone had said that Jeff didn't like that album or wasn't satisfied with it. And I'm going, oh, wow, that's the go-to album I always say. And I've said that with his tribute. It's weird. When you look at it, and nothing against Lisa Marie Presley. It's just that I got the Lisa Marie news just as it was breaking. And when you have a breaking story, you don't really have time to do a lot of research. You're basically doing it on the fly like you do as if you're on the radio.
Of course.
And I'm sure sometimes I don't do as well as other times, but with Lisa Marie, I just went on there really quickly and I went, here's the headlines, this is what I have to know. Okay, I'm reading it as I'm putting the headline on and getting it ready. So that got 60,000 hits, Lisa Marie. But then I waited a little longer to do Jeff Beck because it was Jeff Beck. But I just done a few interviews with people who'd worked with Jeff Beck. So everything was fresh in my mind. But that one got 25,000 hits. I'm going, what? But Lisa Marie was more of a public figure, entertainer, celebrity than Jeff Beck, even though Jeff Beck could fly circles around her musically. And it's just the way it goes. And I came upstairs and I went to Shannon. I went, in the last hour, 50,000 people went on our feed. And she went, what? And I said, the last time that happened was when Eddie Van Halen died. That's the last time when I did, because I knew a lot about Eddie Van Halen, and I went, I just go on cold. I can just do it. And that's the way it goes with YouTube. You never know.
Michael T. Scott, I was 6 when I got Huey Lewis the News Sports. It was my first album for grown-ups and moved me on from the Chipmunks, Muppets, and Disney.
Sports was such a big album, too. It was just a big, right in your pocket, because Shannon's almost 11 years younger than me. Yes, I got a younger wife to pick up my teeth if I ever lose my teeth.
Doubt it. Chad says Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band.
Yeah.
Really Gator, bringing home the Signals album by Rush, cranking volume before even one sound hit, and then Subdivisions comes blasting out. Great moment for me.
Oh my God. Thank you. You painted that very well. Yeah.
Gerald says, hey Gerald, you guys rock.
Thank you.
Mike Smith, Bob Seger Night Moves album has many great songs from a great singer-songwriter.
Yeah. Well, with Main Street, I remember Main Street painted a picture, a lady of the night picture, a dancer picture, a lady that you want to rescue. There was just something so melancholy about that song. Down on Main Street, you know. The timbre in his voice, you know how he had that whiskey-soaked voice that Bob Seger has. There's a believability to that. You know, when you hear someone talking and they're speaking in their lower register, In radio we used to say, even if you don't have the voice, speak in your lower register because people believe you more. We have people in our lives who talk really loud, and sometimes they can't help that, but there's a certain, it makes people uncomfortable. When we're looking at the psychology of the voice, when first getting into radio, and even our first boss, Len Tucson, used to tell us stuff about that. Speak in your lower register, even if you don't have a major big, people will believe you more.
Gregory Schlinger. Jethro Tull, Aqua Lung changed everything for me.
And a lot of people, yeah. I gotta share those Ian Anderson interviews more. He's just very frank and just I don't get afraid to doing interviews, but I was a little intimidated. Bill Bruford did that to me, and it's rare. I never get nervous before an interview. I don't know why. Just don't. And I've been doing it for 40 years. Maybe that's why. But the first time I talked to Ian Anderson, I was a little nervous. And then the second time I was fine. I only talked to Bill Bruford once. And he was, at the end of the interview, he says, okay, that's good. I went, no problem. You're Bill Bruford. I'm okay with that.
Surfer Boy says barbers or blabbermouths.
Okay.
John Patterson says life-changing albums are positive milestones in a person's earlier development life. A human consciously installs song music in their mind as a trigger to good feelings for a better time.
Wow, well said.
Well
That's
said,
beautiful.
John.
Thank you, John.
Nice. Rick says, Pink Floyd, wish you were here. Everyone talks of Walters and Gilmore. But to me, Rick Wright's keyboard steals the show.
I always say there's no way in a million years that Pink Floyd could have been Pink Floyd without Richard Wright, Rick Wright. It was sad that we lost him, but it was amazing. And really, Rick Wright was the best looking guy in the band. I mean, outside of Sid Barrett in the beginning. Sid Barrett and Rick Wright were like, I remember looking at those two guys. Roger Waters is not an attractive guy, and that's okay. You're either attractive or you're not. But as far as selling records, and that helps, unfortunately, look at country. How many ugly country artists are there? There's none. It's sad, but even in pop does the same thing. Or not the quote, what good looking is. But Sid Barrett and Richard Wright, I remember going, those guys are like freaking models. Hi. Oh, what time is it? Oh, 15 more minutes, honey.
15 minutes.
You want to say hi? Come here. Come here, say hi.
Huh.
Hi, there's our autistic wonder.
Thanks, Danica. 15 minutes.
25 years of love.
Darren says, Passion of Love by Boys Brigade is the other hit song. Geddy Lee produced the album.
I don't remember the song by the title, but I'd have to go back and listen to them.
Rome Loves Dan, Secondhand, Revolver, and Rubber Soul. No lie, at 4 years old to accompany my Monkey single. Start of my collection.
Well, that's the two albums. I quote those albums all the time, but I remember being quite young and realizing, oh my God, that's when, you could see signs of it before, obviously. But I remember going, no, they're not going back. That this is it. Revolver, Rubber Soul, this is it, those two albums.
Shelley says Tumbleweed Connection by Elton John.
Yes.
Ruben chimes in, Steve Earle's Copperhead Road opened me up to a whole new genre.
Oh, and that's when, what is it, Exodo I had, and I remember before Copperhead, those two albums I had, and with one of them had I Ain't Never Satisfied. Remember I used to play that? I ain't never satisfied. I love that song. But then Copperhead Road came out, and I'm going, wow, he's gone big. I remember Ched used to play it in Edmonton. Got a itchy ear. I'm going, wow, he's changed. I didn't like it as much, but I knew it was going to be big.
Surfer Boy, thanks. Smash that like button. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pat Waters says Disco Duck Rick Dees, 1976.
Oh, no. Well, I think you're being facetious. I bought the 45, by the way. I actually did buy that 45.
Melancholy Man. The first two American albums were Dan Peake were great albums for the time.
Yeah. I found for anybody who's tired of hearing me say this, Andrew Gold, I finally found my interview, the original cassette of the interview. And I put it down, I digitized it, and I realized that, wait a minute, it didn't sound as hummy as the versions that I had. So John Zake, who's Bobby Kimball's producer from Toto, John Zake had told me once when he tried to fix it for me, he said, John, is there a possibility that the phone had a hum, but also your connection had a hum for the copy that you sent me? And I went, no, that was it. So then I found the original version of the cassette of me talking to Andrew Gold, and I'm going, it's not as hummy. I can work with this. So I just found it about 4 days ago, and I found Ravi Shankar's interview. He talks about George Harrison a lot. George had died within a year of that interview, and of course Ravi's long dead now. I found my Dave Brubeck interview. That one did have a lot of hum. All dead guys. And the last one is, and you reminded me, is Dan Peek. And I have Dan Peek downstairs someplace.
Gail, hello from Canada.
Hi.
I am a
We're in
Bon
Canada.
Jovi fan. I love all of his music and Laugh If You Wish. I love the Bay City Rollers.
There's
I
nothing
did
wrong with
too.
that.
That was great. That was great for the time.
By the way, Gail, are you the lady I was talking to the other day from Nova Scotia? Because we're in Moncton, New Brunswick. And in the next year, we're going to move out west again. But we're here, yeah.
Mr. Vista, taking care of business.
Yeah.
Bob says, Fire and Water by Free.
You know that Randy, we were just doing a thing a while ago. Randy Bachman calls it TCB. He always calls taking care of business TCB.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Charles says The Outlaw self-titled debut
Oh,
album.
cool.
Barney Fife, Grand Funk were an American band.
Oh, yeah. That drumming, Don Brewer, good stuff. I had an interview with Don, and of course with oh God, my brain is so tired. Mark Farner.
Ramblings Adrift, La Dee Da by Billy and Lily, 1957, on the Swan label. I was 3 or 4, an older sister and her sack of 45s that started my passion for 50s through 60s
God.
pop. Grew up falling asleep to early Dylan.
And someone else said, Gerald says, Nielsen Schmilson, yeah.
Was the album that made me finally get it.
Well, we were talking to Caleb Coy, who talked about working with Harry Nielsen, and he said they were just, Richard Perry and Harry Nielsen, whew, just out there.
Rick Smith, hi. First time here, everyone growing up.
Hey, Rick.
Oh, sorry.
Nope.
Growing up, I think I read that before. Sorry. Ruben, the Cars Candy O definitely changed my musical life. Had it on 8-track as a 12-year-old.
Remember the title song? Candy, oh, I need you. Oh, such a great song.
Oh, Charles says, and a song video for Belinda Carlisle, Mad About You. In my opinion, it's a perfect pop production on a single. It was good. It was really good.
Yeah, she did well.
Pulsar Lights, remember a Zebra Kid from Heavy Metal Parking Lot. He went country in his middle age. I guess taste in music does change.
Yeah, it can.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes people too, I think not always, and not necessarily in this case, sometimes people look at and they see a lane and they go, I can do that. I got to make a living. All those artists that do those songs 50 million times, I don't think they want to necessarily, but they need to. And sometimes people do what they have to do.
John Myler, life changer for me was The Living Years by Mike and the Mechanics.
Oh, wow.
Prompted me to call my dad 3 days before he unexpectedly died. We
was about
got
to
a
ask.
lot of issues ironed out. Special song.
Yeah, and
I got little goosebumps
yeah,
on that
of course. And the Genesis is releasing unarchived live music. Oh,
Super chat, thank you, Mr. Adrian Ojeda?
Oyeta.
AC/DC, Back in Black. Every song on that album had been played on classic rock radio in America at some point.
And then Highway to Hell just before that with Bon Scott, with the original singer, or the singer from that classic era. Every song, we used to call it stripper music. We used to call Highway to Hell stripper music. And then Back in Black, when they got back together, Brian Johnson, the new lead singer, I remember going, every song, it's just like Highway to Hell.
John says, for Robbie Bachman, BTO 4-Wheel Drive is the quintessential Maple Leaf metal album of the 70s. May he now rest in eternal peace.
4-Wheel Drive. Yeah.
Shelley, Bobby Caldwell, What You Won't Do for Love.
Yeah, that was a great album. And I'd heard that Bobby's not doing that well, and I don't know if it was Teresa or Mary, his wife. I mentioned this before. We had a long conversation when we lived in our first house. She called me one day, and I remember she told me she liked horses. She was big into horses. And she was Bobby Caldwell's wife, and she said, are you running that station in Calgary? And I said, no, not yet, but I'm going to be one of these days, and I eventually did. And she sent me all Bobby Caldwell stuff.
Big Dog Ron AZ. First album for me was Elton John's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road or any of the early Chicago albums. Love you guys. Hey, thanks.
That was my second album, by the way. Goodbye Yellow Brick Road was my second. Madman was my first. Madman Across the Water. And the Chicago stuff, I just dove into that when I was that age.
Joel in Virginia. Hey, Joel.
Hey, Joel.
Standouts for me include Boston's first Led Zepp 2, Van Halen 1, Jimi Hendrix, Are You Experienced? Each of those took heavy metal rock in different realms.
Oh, my God, you have great taste. I mean, to me, too, I liked Zeppelin 2 way more than Zeppelin 1. And there was just, the Zeppelin one was too raw. I was just talking to Greg Godovitz from Gatto a little while ago, and he would say it. And then Richie Henman, not right now, you have to wait 8 minutes, Dan. 8 minutes. Richie Henman, who was the first bass player for April Wine, and they both said something very similar. They said, well, unlike a lot of bands, Zeppelin hit the ground running. That first album, yeah, you could tell they were a band. They had it down. I mean, they changed. They got a little bit more commercial. But like I said, that first album wasn't that big for me, but I've gotten back to it. But Zeppelin 2, yeah, I got Zeppelin 2 right away.
Thanks, Bob. Yes, please hit that like button. We've got like 40 likes. We'd love if you all
Hercules. Thank you.
Ricky says Boston's debut album, Boston, and Nazareth is Hair of the Dog.
Yeah, 75 for Hair of the Dog, and that great classic recorded by the Everly Brothers, Love Hurts, written by, I don't know if he wrote that with his wife or not, Boudleaux Bryant, who was one of the greatest songwriters of all time. I remember years ago, I went, Boudleaux Bryant, I got to look him up, I got to interview him, and he was long dead. And I went, jeez.
Hike with Mike, the song by Elvin Bishop, On and On, brings me back to 5th grade, sitting at our classroom table in Mrs. Schumacher's class, singing it all the time and sitting across from my first crush.
Oh my God, thank you for sharing that. I love that because you're painting a picture.
Right?
Well, I've always procrastinated on, and I've tried to get Stephen Bishop, but he never gets back to me. But he wrote the book. And it's out, and so I should circle back.
Ooh, circle back.
Now I've got a thing in my ear.
Anthony, Genesis, Abacab, the song Like It or Not in the song reminds me of a long-time relationship with my ex-girlfriend Melissa, and written by Mike Rutherford of Genesis.
Okay, I'm just kind of curious, whatever happened to Melissa? I say that because she always laughs at me. I'm practically friends with all my exes on Facebook. Like, I mean, I am friends with them because I would never date them if I was single.
Oh, sorry. He said Stephen Bishop, not Elvin, LOL. That's fine.
Yeah, I know you meant Stephen Bishop, yeah. Elvin is Fool Around, Fell in Love with Mickey Thomas on lead vocals.
Bob says you should interview Billy Burnett.
Oh, I never thought of interviewing Billy Burnett, but yeah. Is this the Billy Burnett he worked with Elton John, right? Another super chat. God, I got a ring in my ear.
Sorry, I didn't see one come up.
I have to. Oh, the tissues are underneath the computer. That's attractive.
James Bashir is, hey, James.
Hey,
Ring
James.
of Fire by Johnny Cash. Oh, that's a good one.
You know, AAA stations used to play Ring of Fire as their what do you call it? Spice song. They used to have a song that sounded a Spice song would be a song on a format that sounded different than everything else that you played. It just woke up the audience a little bit. And Ring of Fire was one of those songs. Another. Oh,
thank you, Tony.
Thanks, Tony. Oh, God, we're way behind.
I'm really far. So, Tony, thank you. Tony Carey, Blue Highway.
Oh, cool. Oops.
Sorry, I'll make sure I'm not. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm really far behind here.
And we only have 4 minutes left, 5 minutes.
Oh, so the Celine 786 Long Train Runnin', Doobie Brothers, my favorite song for almost 50 years.
Great tune. Those first, like the second album, Toulouse Street, What Were Once Vices Are Now Habits, The Captain and Me, Stampede, Living on the Fault Line, or Taking It to the Streets, Living on the Fault Line, Minute by Minute. They're just amazing albums.
Ruben says, Life in the Fast Lane by the Eagles was the first song I've ever heard someone swear in.
Oh, we were just talking. I just found the clip where Andrew Gold on the song Never Let Her Slip Away. It sounds like that. And Andrew comes up to Glenn Frey and says, oh, I love that Heartache Tonight intro there, buddy, because they basically stole it from Andrew Gold.
Lawrence Alberts, Rubber Soul, a game changer for the Beatles, gamer changer for rock music in general.
Oh, yeah.
I was only 12 at the time, but I knew it was different.
Yeah, yeah.
Omega Truckin', hello there. My favorite Moody Blues song is I Used to Be a Singer in a Rock and Roll Band.
Oh, I'm just a singer in a rock and roll band.
Floyd the Barber, hey guys, happy
Hey.
Friday. Hey Floyd,
Hi.
no album changed my life, but Frampton Comes Alive was the soundtrack to the best summer of my life. Warm day swimming on the river with my friends and girlfriend. Nice.
I don't think any other live album ever did what that did, where you had a whole bunch of songs that had been recorded before, and you listen to the original version. Something's happening. That song, the first song on the album, sounds more or less like the original version, but the live album is so dynamic.
Thank you, John Patterson. You are great parents. You have been gifted with a young person whom sees the light the rest of us cannot. God bless you, and thank you for being Canadian.
My God, thank you.
Thank you, John.
That's beautiful.
Very kind.
I appreciate that.
Eternity, Edge of Eternity 101, Paul Carrick. How long has this been going on?
Oh yeah, with Ace, yeah. That song still gets airplay like crazy.
Neutral 69, what's your favorite genre of music, Shannon and John? Of course, I like pop. I do like some new country. How about you?
Pop rock. Everyone's surprised by the fact that I'm not just a rocker. I love rock music. Led Zeppelin's my favorite hard rock band. My favorite pop band would be the Beatles, because I don't consider them. But they were ahead of their time, so they were doing rock in their own at that time, right? Toto, Genesis, Supertramp, Bruce Hornsby, Elton John. After I'll say, oh, I can't believe I didn't say. Jonathan Brooke is a singer that's not that well known that I love. She never responds to me for an interview, but I love her anyway.
Blaze Eisner, Brother John and Sister Shannon. I remember sitting in my 18-year-old cousin's bedroom in 1958. Little 5-year-old me listening to the Everly Brothers Dream. Happy Friday, God bless.
Dream, dream, dream. Oh my God, thank you.
Darren says it's all John's fault. The song Heading West by Audionautics is now in my memory banks.
Heading West, a song from that we use for the rock history book now.
Sandy G61, Running Like the Wind, the Marshall Tucker Band.
One band I've got to go back and listen to again. Yeah. What? What? Oh my God! You should do a stream of songs that people lost their virginity to. You said
that was Paul's Our Light. Sorry, that was funny.
That was awesome. Shit, I didn't want to say it.
Okay.
You know, the new rules on YouTube are very strict now.
Very.
And people used to go, "What do you mean you can't swear?" You know what? The old videos.
You can't talk about certain things about different.
And then it goes back to your old videos. If you're going, oh, what about it? Just affects our new? Nope, it affects your old videos. But we were always like that. For instance, artists like Lukather swears a lot, and we'd always beep him out. I'm trying to think of other artists. Lukather's probably the one that swears the most.
Floyd the Barber, 6 Degrees by Boss Gags was another Desert Island album.
Oh, 6 Degrees, yeah.
Barney Fife, when I was getting the notion to cross the bridge of innocent Sammy Johns, Chevy van.
Oh, we made love in my Chevy van, and that's all right with me.
Chris Householder, to me, Spirit of the Radio is the radio anthem for hard rock power pop.
Spirit of the Radio is such a great song. I love Rush.
Sable says Working Man by Rush was formidable.
Yeah.
Mikey P, when you guys come to the UK, album that changed my life as one of my first memories when I was 3 still is Duran Duran Rio.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She loves Duran Duran. I like Duran Duran. I don't think I love them, but I like them. Their last album, the album that came out about 4 or 5 years ago, I really liked it. I was going to review it, and then I just wasn't. It was even longer, 5 years ago. I wasn't good with doing videos yet.
DJH Record Heron. Hey, DJH. Much love to you and the family, John and Shan. Now go enjoy Scrabble. Oh, my gosh, you know me too well. DJ, she got me down. You got me too well.
Look at Danica. She plays Scrabble with Danica at 10 o'clock every night.
Every night.
Okay,
So,
we need to go.
thank you, everyone. Always such a pleasure to be here. Thanks again, huh? It's been fun.
It was a lot of fun tonight. I really needed this. Now, I'm not yawning anymore. I woke up. You guys woke me up. So.
And thanks to Hike with Mike for the, he gave us the idea to do this talk for tonight.
Yeah.
You've got some great zingers for us, so thank you very much.
If any news breaks this weekend, I'll come on. I'm still working on like at least 12 interviews that we've got to get up that we haven't put up yet, but we'll get them up real soon. Take care of yourself. Good night.
Bye.